He was running out of fuel. His rival was right behind him. And the most historic finish line in American motorsport was less than 4 laps away. Bubba Wallace had just survived one overtime restart at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Then a crash triggered a second one. His crew was on the radio doing the math, trying to figure out whether the car had enough fuel to even finish the race. The easy call, the safe call, was to pit, surrender the lead, live to fight another lap. He did not take the easy call. But here is what nobody is talking about. This moment did not begin in Indianapolis. It did not begin with the fuel calculation, or the rain delay, or the double overtime. It began years earlier with a win that the entire sport refused to respect, and a rivalry that nearly turned violent on a Las Vegas restart. How does a driver go from being dismissed, doubted, and deliberately wrecked by his own rival to standing alone in victory lane at one of the most consequential venues in motorsport history? And what exactly did he say afterward that made the entire paddock go silent? By the end of this video, you will understand not just what Bubba Wallace achieved, but precisely why it took everything he had to get there. If you are new here, do us a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. We cover stories exactly like this one, and we do not want you to miss what is coming next. To understand what Indianapolis 2025 truly meant, you have to go back to 2021. Bubba Wallace crossed the finish line at Talladega Superspeedway for his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory. It should have been a moment of pure celebration. Instead, critics immediately moved to diminish it. The win had been shortened by rain. The argument, repeated loudly across every corner of the racing world, was simple and cruel. Wallace had never truly earned a win in clean, green flag, full-distance racing conditions. That narrative followed him into the 2022 season like a shadow he could not escape. Then came September 11th, 2022, and the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas Speedway. The circumstances leading to that race were unique. Kurt Busch, originally driving the number 45 Toyota for 23XI Racing, had won at Kansas in May 2022, qualifying the car for the owners' playoffs. But a concussion suffered during a qualifying crash at Pocono Raceway sidelined Busch from the Drivers' Championship. On August 31, 2022, 23XI Racing made the strategic decision to move Wallace from a number 23 to the number 45 for the remainder of the season, keeping the car competitive in the owners' playoff standings. What happened next silenced an entire narrative. Wallace led a dominant 58 laps throughout the event. He managed tire conservation and fuel strategy with precision in the closing stages. And when it mattered most, he held off a charging Kyle Larson on critical late race restarts to claim the victory. He became the 18th different winner of the 2022 season, part of a modern-era record-tying campaign. In victory lane, Wallace delivered one of the most raw and honest post-race quotes in recent memory, thankful to shut the hell up for a lot of people. He was not just celebrating a win. He was directly addressing everyone who had dismissed his Talladega victory as undeserved. Team owner Denny Hamlin came through to congratulate him, and in that moment, 23XI Racing, still a young and emerging organization, had announced itself to the entire sport. But the story of Bubba Wallace cannot be told without discussing Kyle Larson. These two drivers share one of the fiercest and most layered rivalries in modern NASCAR history. Their contrasting styles, Larson's aggressive, calculated precision against Wallace's passionate, relentless determination, have consistently produced some of the sport's most compelling racing moments. The rivalry ignited with genuine fury at the 2022 South Point 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. During a critical restart, Larson attempted an aggressive 3-wide pass and drifted up, making hard contact and sending Wallace's car into the outside wall. Wallace, frustrated and unwilling to simply absorb the moment, bounced off the wall, dropped to the apron, and turned left to deliberately hook Larson's car in retaliation. The resulting crash eliminated playoff contender Christopher Bell from the race. A heated altercation followed in the infield, and NASCAR was forced to address the incident. The conversation about on-track retaliation and accountability in racing grew louder because of that single moment. Kansas 2022 then gave Wallace the opportunity to respond on the track where it counted most, beating Larson not through aggression, but through sheer performance. The psychological dimension of defeating his most prominent adversary in a playoff race was significant. By 2023, the rivalry had evolved. At the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 at Texas Motor Speedway, Wallace started on the front row and surprisingly made the outside lane work. What followed was a fierce, door-to-door battle through turns 3 and 4, with neither driver willing to lift. Larson ultimately slid up into the wall to avoid a wreck. The rivalry was no longer purely about anger. It had grown into something closer to competitive respect between two drivers who simply refused to give an inch. And then came Indianapolis 2025, where the rivalry reached its most prestigious stage, a crown jewel event, and Wallace won it. The 2025 Brickyard 400 was, in every sense, a test of character. Wallace arrived at Indianapolis Motor Speedway carrying a 100-race winless streak dating back to his Kansas 2022 victory. The pressure of being one of NASCAR's most scrutinized drivers was ever present. Even qualifying delivered a disappointment. Wallace spent most of the session on the provisional pole before Chase Briscoe claimed the top starting spot with one of the final runs. On race day, Wallace navigated the complexity of a track notorious for its difficulty in passing. Larson cut a 5-second deficit down to approximately 3 seconds in the closing laps before a yellow flag halted what appeared to be an inevitable final showdown. Then came the rain. With just 4 laps remaining, an 18-minute delay stopped the race entirely and forced Wallace to mentally reset while sitting in his car on pit lane. He later described his mindset in that moment. The whole time, I'm thinking, are we going? Are we not? I will say I lean more towards, I know we're going to go back racing. Be ready. Don't get complacent here. He was not complacent. On the first overtime restart, Wallace beat Larson through turn 2. A crash behind them forced a second overtime. His crew ran the numbers on fuel. The calculations were tight. Whether Wallace could finish the race without pitting was genuinely uncertain. But his decision was immediate and unequivocal. I want to win this straight up. I want to go back racing. On the second overtime restart, he beat Larson off the line again and pulled away, crossing the finish line 222 seconds ahead. Bubba Wallace had become the first black driver to win a major race on Indianapolis Motor Speedway's 5-mile oval. No black driver has ever won the Indianapolis 500. Formula One has raced on the track's road course, but no black driver had ever claimed an oval victory at this venue. This was Wallace's first victory in any of NASCAR's four crown jewel events, joining the Daytona 500, Coca-Cola 600, and Southern 500 as races that define careers. He found his family in Victory Lane. His son joined the celebration in a deeply personal and emotional moment. Wallace later reflected, "Those last 20 laps there were ups and downs, and I was telling myself, you won't be able to do it. Once I'd seen it was Larson, I knew he won here last year, and he's arguably the best in the field. So to beat the best, we had to be the best today." Michael Jordan, 23XI Racing's co-owner, celebrated in Victory Lane as the team continued its ongoing legal battle with NASCAR over charter status. The win was a powerful statement far beyond the courtroom. What made this victory possible was not just talent. It was transformation. The Bubba Wallace of earlier years was defined by emotional volatility that often worked against him. Prior playoff runs were marked by self-inflicted mistakes and an inability to move forward mentally. In 2023, he made the playoffs via points accumulation rather than winning, and was eliminated in the second round. The arrival of crew chief Charles DeNike in 2025 fundamentally altered the culture of the number 23 team. DeNike's philosophy is precise: compartmentalize those things, the good and the bad. Know that one moment doesn't need to define the whole rest of the race. His attention to detail became the foundation for unlocking Wallace's true potential. The proof came at Darlington Raceway in the 2025 playoff opener. A pit road mistake under green flag conditions dropped Wallace back to 15th. The old Wallace would have expressed frustration over the radio and carried that energy negatively through the remainder of the race. Instead, the team moved on silently, rallied back, and finished 6th. DeNike later said, "It's good to be disappointed in a 6th when you feel like you're capable of running better than that all night long." Team co-owner Denny Hamlin summarized the evolution clearly. Where Bubba's made the biggest gains is understanding that this is a 500-mile race, not a 300-mile race, and understanding how to get to the finish and optimize his day. 23XI Racing itself represents one of the most compelling organizational stories in modern motorsport. It began with a text message, Denny Hamlin reaching out to Wallace before the team even officially existed. Wallace took a genuine leap of faith joining a brand new organization. Michael Jordan's investment was a statement of belief in both Wallace and the sport's future. From Kurt Busch's milestone Kansas win in May 2022 to Wallace's historic Brickyard 400 triumph, the team has built credibility on the sport's biggest stages while simultaneously fighting for its structural future in the courtroom. The personal bond between Hamlin and Wallace reflects the team's authentic culture. After Kansas 2025, where Hamlin passed Wallace on the final lap and cost him a potential win, Wallace did not hold back. He's a dumbass for that move. I don't care if he's my boss or not. That candor, that authenticity, defines the relationship and the team. Bubba Wallace carries a chip on his shoulder. He has acknowledged it openly. He has more critics than most, critics who have questioned his talent, his victories, and his right to the platform he occupies as a prominent black driver in a historically white-dominated sport. But he has consistently channeled that outside noise into on-track performance. The Kansas 2022 victory silenced those who dismissed Talladega. The Brickyard 2025 victory answered a century of racial barriers at one of motorsport's most sacred venues. His wins inspire a generation of young black racing fans and aspiring drivers, demonstrating that barriers, while real, are not permanent. Wallace's championship aspirations are not modest. When asked directly after Darlington, he answered simply, "Oh, 100% yeah." The rivalry with Larson will produce more unforgettable moments. The legal battle over charter status will shape 23XI Racing's long-term future. And Wallace himself, the driver who once climbed out of a car barely able to stand from the adrenaline, the driver who delivered raw, unfiltered truth in every post-race interview, is still writing his story. From Talladega 2021 to Indianapolis 2025, from doubt to destiny, Bubba Wallace has earned every word of it. If this story moved you the way it moved us putting it together, we genuinely ask you to take 1 second and hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We are a new channel working hard to build a community of fans who love real, in-depth sports storytelling, and reaching 1,000 subscribers would mean the world to us. Every single subscription genuinely helps us keep creating content like this. Now we want to hear from you. Do you believe Bubba Wallace has what it takes to become a NASCAR Cup Series champion, and has his journey changed how you view him as a driver? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one.